Madam Chair Lehner, Vice Chairman Brenner, Ranking Member Fetter, and members of the Senate Education Committee. My name is Heather Groves, and I'm a licensed nurse in the state of Ohio. As a nurse and as a mother of 3 school-aged children, I thank you for the opportunity to provide opponent testimony for Senate Bill 121, which would require the State Board of Education to adopt health education standards and to require that only statewide venereal disease education standards and curriculum be approved by General Assembly. I stand in opposition to this bill for many reasons. The first being that Ohio Revised Code 3313.60 establishes a health curriculum while leaving the individual school districts to establish the health standards that best fit their own population of students, which we were just discussing. As you are aware, different municipalities will face different health disparities, and current Ohio law allows for an individualized approach to health education that is flexible enough to meet the unique needs of each school district across the state, while not limiting their ability to adopt these national health standards if they so choose already. Without the requirement of passing this bill, they had the opportunity to do that if they so choose. As a mom, I'm concerned with the provision in SB121 that removes the approval process by the General Assembly to change or modify the health standards and curriculum in the state of Ohio, except for in the case of venereal disease education, effectively removing the vital responsibility from the hands of we the people and placing it into the hands of the Board of Education. We have seen this play out across the country, where in states like California, liberal sex education and gender identity standards were adopted, despite the outcry and protest of parents across the state. SB 121 states that only venereal disease education standards and curriculum be approved by the General Assembly, effectively pushing parents and lawmakers out of any discussion on the remainder of sex education curriculum, while also paving the way for special interest groups to gleefully take our place. Limiting the state's role in the education process by adopting national standards does not guarantee better educational outcomes, as we have painfully seen demonstrated by the national failure known as Common Core. A 2019 article titled "Nearly a Decade Later, Did Common Core Work? New Research Offers Clues" states the following. A new study released in April through a federally funded research center shows that states that changed their standards most dramatically by adopting Common Core didn't outpace other states on the federal exams. By 2017, 7 years after most states had adopted them, the standards appear to have led to modest declines in 4th grade reading and 8th grade math scores, falling short of the far-reaching ambitions of Common Core advocates. On April 27th of this year, the Pioneer Institute of Public Policy released their own study, summed up in an article titled "Study Finds Historic Drop in National Reading and Math Scores Since the Adoption of Common Core Curriculum Standards." And it states that as we approach the 40th anniversary of the establishment of the United States Department of Education, shocking trends in student performance should lead us to reconsider that federal role in education and whether the initiative for policy making should be returned to local schools, communities, and states. And I think that that is the discussion that we're having here today. Breaking with decades of slow improvement, the U.S. reading and math scores on National Assessment of Education Progress and other assessments have seen historic decline since most states implemented National Common Core English and Math curriculum 6 years ago, according to that new study. While Common Core was promoted as improving the international competitiveness of U.S. students in math, our international standing has remained low, while the skills of average and lower performing American students have dropped in both reading and math. The health of our children is vitally important, which is why I oppose adopting national health education standards that limit the input of those of us who are most invested in the health and safety of Ohio's children. From No Child Left Behind to Common Core, we have decades of failed national requirement standards that confirm that applying a one-size-fits-all standard to educational requirements rarely meets expectations and often alienates parents and students from the educational process. The federal government has no constitutional authority over the education of Ohio's youth, and I believe that this is something that we should honor and protect by rejecting Senate Bill 121. Thank you for the opportunity to advocate for my children by voicing my objection to this bill, and that is something that, if passed, this bill will strip me of in the future. I will no longer be able to advocate for them and share my opposition to any health standards in our schools. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.